says the essential difference, and because we all agree that we have the short form charter. It says the essential differences between long and short forms is that the short form charter contains less detail concerning organizational arrangements and operational procedures. For this reason, the short form charter usually is accompanied by an administrative code. So I'm of the belief that we can't have 9 people here on January 1 not knowing what the rules are. And one person sitting in the other building overseeing, some resolution that may or may not get passed. So it would seem to me that we have to have some kind of a basic administrative code similar to our rules. Well, we have rules of procedure now. We don't follow them necessarily, but we have them, and it says how resolutions shall be, brought forward, and they've been amended over the years. But I think that we need to hand to them at least something to follow so that they get started. Now, whether they amend it during the course of their careers, that's up to them. We have, because I see it, there's even a confusion about data processing, IT, in here. And the thing is, we took Putnam County's charter and we copied it. We didn't write a charter for Montgomery County. We copied somebody else's charter and we used it as our own. And we did it for time constraints and a few other things. But the administrative code that went with that charter is 363 pages.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they must have saw something. And this is where the confusion can come. Let's just say in the IT department. I look at it because it was under the county executive and it says service departments. So it lumped IT with central mailing, with something else, a few other service departments. So they took it out of, it appears to me, they took it out of a department status and put it underneath somebody. Those are the confusions. On 1-1, we can't have that confusion on those issues. So I think that we really need to spend some time and create some basic administrative code.
And looking at the Oneida County Charter, we're talking about the data processing department.
Oh, I don't know about theirs.
Well, they call it a different, they got different names for
Yeah.
it, but they lump a bunch of things in together there too. But the administrative codes, because Oneida County, you're looking at a county with what, 235,000 people, I believe. When you look at their administrative code, it's not that long, because like a department, there'll be 2 pages. I mean, I got it here. There's 2 pages for a department. And
Their administrative code is what, 100 pages?
Yeah, they have a lot of of departments that we don't have. I mean, they have all kinds of stuff.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think we could develop an administrative code, sure, and that has to be adopted by local law, by the way, too.
And truthfully, if you did one for the county executive and the county legislature, and you're right, I think after that, you could probably let them handle the ones that have to relate to departments. But I think the 2 branches, you need to have an administrative code on how the 2 branches operate, and then let them take care of the departments going forward, because those are the other things in the administrative code, nothing more than a regurgitation of a department.
Yeah, because I know that you're talking about because I sent an email to Dusty, and I got that here, Swanger, and I asked him if in that charter, the data processing, if that was by design or was that an oversight. He emailed me back and he said it was definitely an oversight. Then he emailed me back a second email, and which I have, where he said that the main thing they looked at was the executive legislative department, and they didn't want to mess with the departments too much. And that's the exact words in the email. So I think you may have a good point there, Dominic.
On the administrative code, their first meeting or second meeting, they turned to us, you and I, and they said, do we have an administrative code?
Yeah.
And we
don't.
said, no,
No, we don't.
we didn't have one.
Yeah.
As far as when they're thinking, when they were looking at county executive, they wanted it to be a benevolent, and I made this remark, and they really wanted to give all the authority into a county executive, basically no checks and balances. That they wanted the county executive to create contracts and sign contracts, similar to as if they were a hospital administrator, where there's no board overseeing contract. This was their intent. They smoothed it out, but that's how they started, wanting to give this person all the authority.
Yeah, they made a lot of changes as they went along.
So,
according to
I think that's where the IT went.
Okay, question number 19 here. Who do we want to review this, and do we want to use this committee, or you want to appoint another committee, or what direction you want to go in there? Anybody got any suggestions? Don?
I personally think that as it stands in Montgomery County right now until December 31st, this is the Education and Government Committee.
Yep.
And that's part of your responsibilities as a committee, I think. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't look for others to help. You could have all of us, but I mean, I think that, I mean, I'm not on the committee. I'd love to be a part of this, but I'm not on the committee. You know, but I think that that's kind of what, I put more work on you guys, but I don't, I think we need to, at this point, to have outside interference come back to this, and I don't mean that in a bad way towards the Charter Commission. I've said it 100 times, they've done their job. But I think it really needs to, we understand, even though we may agree and disagree on a lot of items, we understand how this works, and I really think it should be this committee. And if you had somebody in mind on the committee that you wanted to head it up, or you did it as a chairman, whatever, I just think that's...
Well, let's do it this way. We'll remain with this committee, and I'm going to get in contact with the Department of State again and see if they would supply someone to come here, provide somebody
That's a good idea.
to come here, and it's educated in that particular area. You see the emails, you read them there, they're the same old thing, they're busy, they got 900 more times work they can handle and all this sort of stuff, but let me talk to them and see if we can get someone here to, when the committee meets and have them meet with us too, and see what we can do. Because I do know, I know there's a couple particular areas in that charter, and I find, that the buyer is one area that I think we have a problem there. Just simple fact that, expecting someone to be here with 4 years of college, for the salary it pays, you're asking a lot. And I think it's a couple other little things like in there, that I've noticed that could be, might be, but that can't be done with administrative code though. That has to be done, you gotta amend the charter to do that. The administrative code can't change. You can give the hows, am I correct, Dominic?
Yeah, that's our problem. Even though
The charter-
you and I may have 4 or 5 different administrative codes, it has to conform with our charter.
Exactly.
And all the other charters may not be the same as ours.
Right. I think what
We can copy a couple of good chapters, and we can throw them back at everybody to look at. You know what I mean? But Doug will have to be the one who finally says, yeah, that this complies with that charter.
Yeah, I think that's the way it had to be done. You almost got to take a couple of the charters and go department by department. Take an Oneida County Charter, Sullivan County Charter, somewhere, and like I say, a lot of them in Oneida County, they're 2 pages, there's not much to them. And just compare those with what we got and say, does that work for Montgomery County, or some modification of that, does that work for that? I think that'd be the committee's job. The committee's going to have to meet obviously on a different night than our scheduled night. We're going to have a different night where we can spend, you might be here for 3 or 4 hours, but you're going to have to get at it and get it done. And I think that's the way it should be done. We want to do that, then I'll call the Department of State, see if they can provide someone for us at a meeting. Then we'll set up a meeting for the committee to meet. Of course, the committee will be open to everybody, and anybody wants to come, the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. But that's pretty much the committee's, that's where you want to go?
Yep.
Okay, anything else? We've done the charter, the local laws, we've got the local laws, that's all set, we're going to have a resolution for that. Okay, motion to adjourn? Barbara, second? Herbie? The meeting's adjourned.
All right, we'll call the Public Safety Committee to order. First thing on the agenda is discussion for the chair. Committee members, anyone have anything to discuss? Right there.
We received from Schoharie County a request that we read what they call a provenance of the people into our minutes. And it's somewhat lengthy. They have some sheets here to obtain signatures
It's involving the SAFE Act.
involving the SAFE Act. And, I won't go through it, but basically what they are asking us to do is take this provenance and pass it as a resolution within our board, and then send it on to the governor and our assemblyman, our senator, et cetera, et cetera. I've got a few copies here, probably enough for the committee. Who's on your committee?
Barb, Ruby, Larry,
Greg.
Greg. That's it. And then
Just want to make sure the committee gets one. You've got one, right, Brian?
I've got one.
You've got one?
Yeah, next to him.
Great. Want to share? You got one? Can you share with them?
I sure can.
I'll give this to these two fellas. Obviously, it's something that they have put some thought into and some effort.
God bless you.
They have passed it on their board. And they're just passing it along, asking other counties to do the same.
So is this something that you want to move to the full board?
Well, if your committee has an opinion to do that, obviously it's something we could do.
What will it do? What will it do with the resolution that we passed?
I don't believe it would affect anything with the resolution that we have already passed.
No, what will it add to?
What would it add to?
The specific.
Well, it is more specific, yes, that is correct. What they're looking for is just a united front, if anything else.
For it?
I know.
I'm on the committee.
I'll second it. Right.
So we got a
Education.
motion.
Well, I'm not on the committee, but I'll glad if it goes before the full board, I'd sponsor it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we take somebody from the committee? No problem.
No, no,
Barb,
even though you've done it in other meetings.
Barb and Greg,
Rules and procedures.
versus the committee? Back to the full board.
Move to the full board. Yep. This.
Back and full. Anything else, discussion? at the committee? We do have one other issue in discussion. Maybe John can elaborate. I was gone the week that Pesh was here, but they came in and did a little digging.
The way that it started is Pesh went to the sanitary sewer district, #1, and just doing a check, I guess. I haven't heard otherwise. But when they got to the point of the, oh dear, I can't remember what it's called. Policy for workplace violence, there you go. When it comes to workplace violence, we never have that. When it comes to workplace violence, they come under the umbrella of the county. And so because of that, that brought Pesh to the county, and it just started opening door after door. This young lady that came in, as I understand, has asked for quite a few volumes of things from the county, and part of the reasoning behind the discussion for the safety officer is that there are some items that it does appear that are lacking a safety officer is going to open us up to a liability, or at least some sanctions from Pesh. So that's why we're discussing safety officer. I thought that Rich was going to be here. Obviously, he had something else to do. But Rich Baya, that is. But there has been I believe, about 3 years now that we haven't had a safety officer. And so we do have some issues, possibly. I'm not saying we do. I don't know for sure if we do or don't. But here we are. You want to put a part-time safety officer on to address an issue that is real or not.
Opinions? Go ahead.
I'm not on a committee, so I'll wait for somebody if they want
He can ask first, absolutely.
to. To me, to create a position that in 8 months or 9 months may not exist is, would be asinine. I firmly believe, I deal with Pesh a lot, that they're not probably saying you need to create it and pay somebody, but there ought to be somebody that's designated as a safety person within the county. I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody in this county that already works here, that we don't have to pay another nickel, that could, how do I say this? I'm not saying we're going to burden them with a full-time job here, but let them be the go-to person that the safety issues come to. I thought Rich was taking on that responsibility, or he had since we had gotten rid of it. And I might be wrong. I thought his person, was it Rich?
No, it was Public Works in Eddie, wasn't it?
Well, I don't think it was
Emergency management.
emergency management.
Emergency.
Mine was directed.
That's right, was it, didn't Rich do it for a short period? Maybe not, but it ended up in somebody else's lap.
I know somebody took it over.
And you know, I mean, I think what Pesh is looking for is the administrative part of it, like when they go into a facility and see there's no sexual harassment policy, they want to make sure that there is one, and if there is, that if there's bargaining units involved, they have a say in how it's formulated,
It's
or
more than-
workplace violence.
It's more than that. There was reference made to who's making the site inspections, such as when DPW is working out in the field. Is there somebody going there to make sure that they're observing the safety rules, wearing their hard hats, et cetera, et cetera? Who's addressing or what's being addressed as far as building security? Again, I agree with you. There are things perhaps that we could do short of hiring somebody to do the job.
That's a management's responsibility in those departments, need to prevail, and then they answer to the safety officer who's trained them to do that. I mean, this is a farce. It really is.
Where did this come from?
Rich, should we have,
I'm not saying it because I don't know who created it. I'm just saying to spend that money at this point in the game with eight months here, I mean, you know, it's.
should we have Rich come next week to the personnel committee and discuss it further?
Yeah, I think we need more information.
Maybe Rich will shed some light onto what it is, but.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing, to have him come and explain exactly what went on.
I think Cheryl
As a discussion. You okay with that, Bill?
should be here.
Maybe you're anyway.
Yeah. I'll be here.
Well, I think there's a committee out there. I think that we have a committee somewhere in this county.
Safety committee.
Yeah. And which it doesn't meet.
He's the boss of it.
And I don't know who the boss is. But yeah, this was an evolution from Gary Nessel, Emergency Management, who was the safety guy for years and years, until we got into trouble with the insurance companies. Then we got into risk management. From risk management, it turned to a safety officer. Then we got rid of the safety officer, and we're back here. But there's a safety committee somewhere that's been established and has members. So I guess we should have just put oversight over which committee would have handled it. But
Sorry.
I do agree with Tom. I mean, creating another managerial position here when you're going to have a new county legislature and executive, executive appoints these people beginning January 1st, with the legislative approval. To send another, we're talking here from my committee about not sending stuff down to the new county legislature, it's in, limbo. I think that this would be doing the same thing. I just don't think that's a good idea. My opinion.
No, we'll discuss it further next week. And
Where's that lady professional to talk to the committee?
What's her name? I think I know her personally. She spent about a month in town.
Get it from Rich.
All right. Anything else under that safety officer discussion? Now we'll move on to resolutions. First resolution is resolution authorizing chairman to sign an agreement. Inmate Dental Services, Dr. Daniel Kana. I sponsor in a second. Barb, discussion? Wish of the committee?
Move it.
Move it. Next resolution establishing salaries for 3 part-time positions, fire service emergency management. I sponsor in a second. Greg? Discussion? Wish of the committee? Oh, sorry, John. You're
The
not-
reason why you have this resolution, we passed the resolution last month to establish this, that they would become part-time positions and receive a salary. But the Board of Supervisors sets the salary. We didn't set one in that resolution. And I kind of wanted to lock it up a little bit. The agreement was $100 a year for each. And this sets it up so that there's no question, when somebody comes in, that's what you're getting, is $100. That's the reason for the resolution.
Yeah, they're not looking for anything.
I know they're not,
Yeah,
but
that's just,
that's lining it up a little.
any further discussion? Wish of the committee?
Move it.
Move it. Next resolution amending 2013 operating budget emergency management. I sponsor in a second. Barb? Discussion?
Move it.
Wish of the committee?
Move it.
So moved. Anything under other? If not, a motion to adjourn. Barb, Greg?
Okay, I'd like to call the General Services Committee to order, please. First item on the agenda is discussion item. Anyone have a discussion? Hearing none, go right to the first resolution, the only resolution that we have. Resolution authorizing chairman to sign contract with professional services to update Tommy All Hazard Mitigation Plan. I sponsored that, Tom has seconded it. Do we have any discussion item? Hearing none, wish of the committee? Okay, we'll move it. Anything under other? Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
That's got to be the record.
Okay. That is yours.
It's not even a minute.
That's got
Oh, wait a minute, Greg.
Yes.
Never mind.
Could put that on public safety or one of those.
Adjourn. Great meeting, Greg.